Okay, so we're carrying on now. Let me just shut my curtains a bit there. So it sounds like that. So we have one called John, Paul, George, Ringo and Me. This is by Tony Barrow, who was the Beatles' press agent between 62 to 68. This is one from 2005. Really interesting, but he talks about his time with the Beatles, and he talks about each period the Beatles went through, you know, as well as some nice photos I've never seen. That's them for the filming of Paperback Writer video. The Beatles on stage. Fortunately, I taped this book because it was falling apart a bit. Some pages were falling apart a bit. So yeah, I recommend you get this one if you can find it. It's a great book. We have Whoop! The Beatles Anthology, which of course many have. This is from 2000. It talks about like the Beatles, Beatles in their own words, everything they did. You know, almost similar to like that television series in the anthology, as well as words from George Martin, their producer, as well as the Neil Aspinall, who was of course the Beatles' road manager. So yeah, good book. I'm not sure if it's still available. It might be. I don't know. We have the Unreleased Beatles. This is by Richie Unterberger. You said that. This is from 2006. This book. It's about all the Beatles' unreleased footage, as well as what they did each day, the live records of live, radio, television, pretty much stuff that's appeared on bootleg albums. You know, really interesting. Really like this one. This is another one I recommend. I'm definitely going to do a top 10 Beatles books I recommend, and that's definitely on the list. And I have another copy of the Beatles, which I showed earlier. I've been given like doubles of books. Shout in Their Generation by Philip Norman. This one is, I think, 1996. This is probably, I'm not too sure about this one. I'll have to do a bit of research on this one. But I think it's an American copy. Like a lot of pictures. It's got like, you know, information on the Beatles, pictures. Pretty much a lot of the books are the same, really. But the pictures are sometimes the coolest part, because there's always ones I've never seen. There's a nice picture of John and George doing a waltz there. That's pretty interesting. Here's one called Beatles for Sale. This is quite an interesting one. I think it's about all the songs, really. All the songs, really. When they released them. I think it really it talks about all the songs, even because the Beatles did do covers in the 60s too. So there's quite a lot, you know, talks about the songs and the releases and the albums. So yeah, pretty good one. This one's from David Rowley. It came out in 2002. That one. That's pretty interesting. It's a pretty good one. Not really like. Drive by Car. 100 objects that made the Beatles the Beatles. It's quite an interesting one. We have things like their tour itinerary from Pete Best, because Pete Best was the original drummer, but he was dropped in 1962. A poster from the Cabin in 1963. Trying to find what else. A couple of Beatles single sleeves. Nice colour picture of them on television, because television black and white back then. It's a nice colour picture. Sunday Night at the Palladium Invitation, which is a television show that the Beatles appeared on. John in His Own Right, signed by the four Beatles. A picture of the Beatles at the Budokan in Tokyo. The Hollywood Bowl thing. Tickets for the Hollywood Bowl shows in 64 and 65. The Shea Stadium poster, 1966. The Candlestick Park ticket and poster. Some guitars they had. The unreleased Get Back album and a newspaper article on the Beatles spread. So a lot of interesting stuff in there. Pretty cool. The Beatles quote unquote. This is one that the Drive Back album's by Brian Southall, and it came out in 2013. This is Arthur Davis, and this came out 1994. So talk about Beatles today as well as some quotes. From the air, so it's rather cool. Yeah. I might as well do these four. These next ones, The Beatles in Scotland. This is by Ken McNabb, who is a lifelong Beatles fan, and he wrote this book. This came out in 2008, and then it was republished in 2012. So this is the 2012 edition. It's very back. Some pictures of the Beatles fans in Scotland, as well as Scotland's connection to the Beatles. So it's nice to have, really. Talks about all the time the Beatles were in Scotland and Beatles' connections with Scotland. Picture of John and Yoko on holiday in Scotland. Sorry. This is really cool. This is one by Sean Egan, The Mammoth Book of the Beatles. This one came out from... This one was 2009, this one. Talked about the Beatles as... So yeah, I think it talks about the Beatles songs and records and some newspaper articles as well, and the releases, discography and that, so it's alright, yeah, pretty cool. This is one I really like. Revolution in the Head, the Beatles records and the 60s. This is the third revised edition. It was first published 1994, I think then 97, 98, and then 2005, and this is the 2008 one. Talk about the Beatles' songs, like what was happening when they were recorded, what releases they were on, and what happened in the 60s, as well as the Beatles' what the Beatles did each day, as well as what was happening in the 60s as well. So yeah, it's a really cool one. Here's one from Simon Weil. That was by Ian MacDonald, that one. This is one called 365 Days. It's by Simon Wells. This is like a lot of cool images there. It's quite a funny shaped book in a way. It's quite a funny shaped book. It's one I hadn't seen before, because I often buy Beatles books if I've never seen them. You know, one I find interesting that I haven't seen, I definitely pick up a Beatles book. And don't know when this one was published. Well, it's got a liner from December 2004, so I think it must be 2004. Picture of the cabin there. So it's nice to have. Right, so we're going to do the last lot. Beatles album file and complete discography. Unfortunately, it's fallen apart, but it's interesting because it talks about the different versions of the Beatles' songs, as well as the when they were recorded, the releases from all over the world. So, really recommend it. It's been published in many cases by Jeff Russell. I think this was 90s and 80s at some point. You know, not too sure, but it's fallen apart. I'll definitely get a bit of a better copy than that. The Hunter Davis book, of course, the only ever published autobiography over the authorized biography. This was 2009. It was first published in 1968. So some like nice pictures of there. There's John there, the quarryman. Really fun one of Paul and John in their underpants there. No, I think I did that. So yeah, it's a really cool one. So yeah, it's not bad to have, really. None of these books are bad. And here's another Hunter Davis one. The Beatles lyrics. This one is, it came out 2014, first part of 2014. This is the 2017 one, so it's last year this one came out. Some like, I think pictures of the lyrics, and I think talks about the writing. Here's an example of the Eleanor Rigby handwritten lyrics. Hard Day's Night lyrics handwritten. The lyrics for Don't Let Me Down. Octopus's Garden. And Here Comes the Sun. So it's cool to have, really. Yeah. Two more, and these are two new ones which haven't yet been seen on my channel. They'll be in my next vinyl update. I'm going to do that. I've got one more record coming in the post. So here's the Beatles album by Julia DeLeno. This is 1991, I think. Some point in that. Yeah. But I think this is about the Beatles' story, you know. With like pictures and that. Like a lot of ones I've not seen before. And I have this huge one. Oh, Beat the Beatles by Mike Clifford. This is probably a better one out of those two. You know, talk about the Beatles' story. You know, as well as some nice pictures that I've not seen there. This nice one of Paul. So that's that. And that's my group Beatles books done. I'm gonna do book in the solo ones, which probably won't be long because I haven't got too many. And then that'll be that. And see you again soon.